Do you want to learn any foreign language but haven't found an easy and engaging enough way which you would actually enjoy? Well, then you are in the right place. I'm gonna share with you how I've learned English in just 2 months. It was easy, I enjoyed it, and I think it's the most comfortable, practical, and the fastest way you can learn any foreign language without learning boring grammar. The most important thing is that this way you will start to think in that language you want to learn quite fast. And that's different than thinking about something in your language and then wanting to translate those words. Ten years ago in high school I chose to graduate from English. I never enjoyed learning languages the way they taught us in school from books and memorizing words, because when we talk, we don't use isolated words but whole sentences. So I'm sure languages are not taught the same way across all schools, but the classic way of learning in my country seemed completely unnatural and useless. So I asked myself, how do we learn the first language when we are born? As a child, we perceive our environment and see our parents or siblings and other people as they speak and use whole sentences in specific situations.
Čau.
Kde jsi byla?
Poznavenců přece.
This means that we don't just hear some torn words from the context that we should remember individually. So, if I want to learn a foreign language, the most natural way will be to imitate how a child learns. But since I didn't have any people around me who would speak English, how could I imitate that? Well, it's really simple. Today we have the internet and a lot of movies and TV series. So the whole summer before graduation, which lasted 2 months, I watched TV series that I liked at that time. On average, I spent about 4 hours every day watching TV series. And of course, I had subtitles on. Each episode is about half an hour to an hour long, so that's about 4 to 8 episodes a day, depending on what series you are watching. The huge advantage of learning a language in this way is not only that it's the most fun method, but you even see the language in written form and at the same time hear it. This means that you even have an advantage over how a child learns, because a child only hears but doesn't see the language in written form.
Mami, a co je to coura? Jo!
Hajzle jeden.
So when you watch some TV series, you see people in a particular situation, you hear them, and at the same time you see the words in written form. Then your brain writes down the whole situation. That means that you are gradually learning to think in that language and also to write. The advantage of watching TV series over movies is that in TV series you see the same main characters say in 100 episodes. So you will learn to understand much easier when you hear the same pronunciation and accent over and over again. Ideal are therefore some sitcoms in which you see the actors repeatedly in similar situations and environments. This means that it's much easier for you to understand from the context and environment what they are talking about. So even if you don't know some words, you can understand them because your brain can fill in the blanks from the context. It's similar to mathematical equations. The less unknowns the equation has, the easier it is for us to complete them. But when there are more unknowns, in this case words, then we need to translate some of them. I watched on a PC, so I pressed spacebar to pause the series and pressed Alt plus Tab. It moved me to the browser window in which I had opened dictionary. There I immediately typed the word, translated, pressed Alt plus Tab again, returned to the series and continued watching. I repeated this several times with each sentence, but it's very fast and convenient because looking for words in a physical dictionary takes an eternity. Gradually, I did it less and less because our brain starts to remember everything and it's an automatic process. We don't even have to make any special effort to memorize the words. If you notice that you repeatedly cannot remember some word, then write it down on paper, including the translation. This helped me to remember them even though I never looked at that paper again. So, with this simple process, I learned English in 2 months, but of course it can be applied to any language in which you can find some TV series with subtitles in the same language. It's important to note this because when you will use subtitles with another language than the spoken language, then your brain needs to focus on 2 languages at the same time, and I found that this way it won't learn that language so fast. So find some TV series which you will enjoy, or even a YouTube channel with a lot of videos with subtitles on topics that may interest you. Well, that's about it. As usual, the simplest solutions are often the most practical and usable ones. If you like the video, click that like button, subscribe, and let's go learn some languages.